Welcome back, everybody, to These Aren't the Nerds You Are Looking For. Kevin Hord here.
Lorenzo Phan sitting over here.
Hey, Lorenzo, something cool happened today.
Indeed it did. Yes.
Star Wars Resistance is upon us, the new animated series available on Disney Now, Disney XD, Disney Channel, I would presume, probably.
Yeah, Disney Channel is the main channel that it's on, the main cable channel that it's on. But via the app, if you're a cord cutter like I am, Disney's trying to consolidate the various apps. So Disney Channel and Disney XD apps have now become one. So everything is kind of on this Disney Now app. And I think it's kind of like their first foray into this rumored, basically confirmed by Bob Iger, Disney streaming service that's coming next year.
Right.
So they're kind of just getting all their eggs in one basket now.
Right.
But yeah, what was nice too is that the episode's not supposed to premiere until 10 p.m. this evening, which I suppose it is now on the East Coast as we're recording this. But basically, when I woke up, I just thought I'd check the Disney app, and there it was, the premiere episode of Star Wars Resistance. In addition to the two following episodes, we will focus on just the first episode in this discussion. But yeah, so if you are not aware and you have the Disney app and a cable service to open that up, the first three episodes are all there for you to go and binge. So have fun with that.
Yeah, and this one's called like a double episode, so I don't think this is like episode 1, episode 2. Technically, it's just episode 1, but it is a double length, right?
Yes.
So instead of 22 minutes, you've got
like a 43. Yeah, 44-ish. Yeah.
43 minutes, 21 seconds is what I've got.
Yeah. What was interesting, I was trying to figure this out too, because it's only called, the episode is called The Recruit. And unlike what we were able to find for the Clone Wars theatrical that has the 4 separate, what would have been episode titles.
Right.
This one is only called The Recruit.
Right.
There's no Recruit Part 1, Part 2. It's just The Recruit. The app considers it Season 1, Episode 1, and then the following episode is Season 1, Episode 2. What I found interesting is Wikipedia, which has zero information because the episode is still a future release, technically speaking.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering if, by tomorrow there would be more information, but the Wikipedia article for this is...
It's pretty basic.
It's 2 paragraphs.
Yeah.
But
what I found interesting is the Wikipedia did consider this episodes 1 and 2, but I don't know why. Personally, I'm going to call this
Good point.
Yeah, this is episode 1. Like, there's no episode 1 and 2 here. There's no cut. There's no credits. There's no...
It's a commercial break is all it is.
Yeah, and there is no second title. So, this is, in my heart, episode 1. This is the series premiere. Should we... get into the episode? We're going to try and do things a little bit differently than with our Clone Wars deep dive, because this is an ongoing series. With Clone Wars, Kevin and I had each seen the entire series at least once through, so we kind of had some ideas and some feelings towards the show overall already.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, this show's a little different. This is kind of the first time Kevin and I are sitting down with something that's fresh. We don't know what's upcoming. These are our reactions. We'll do a quick recap of the episode at the beginning. So this is my spoiler alert for anybody listening to this episode. This is a spoiler alert for just The Recruit. Again, we're just going to talk about The Recruit. Did you watch the other 2 episodes at all, Kevin?
No, sir. I watched this episode, and that was it. So
good for you, because I went ahead, but I will not let the other 2 episodes affect how I saw this one. Mainly because I did binge all 3 pretty quickly, so it's not hard to separate how I felt about each thing. But yeah, so we'll just run through what happened in this episode, and then you and I will have our reaction discussion and hopes for what we'll see of this fresh series. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm coming in clean on this one, so I've given it one watch through, and that's it. I'm actually currently trying to find out.
Whatever it is you need.
Oh, look at that.
What are you trying to find?
Got some audio bleed over. So episode 1 is The Recruit. Episode 2 is called The Triple Dark.
Yes.
And it is considered episode 2. And then episode 3 is called Fuel for the Fire. So let's see what Wikipedia has to say about The Triple Dark. If they call it episode 2 or if they call it episode 3.
They do call it episode 3. I did look ahead on that one.
Really? Okay. Well, there you go.
So like I said, I don't know why they call it episode 3. So yeah, like I said, this is episode 1 to me. Triple Dark is episode 2.
Yeah, that could change as far as Wikipedia goes. But essentially we have the Recruit 1 and the Recruit 2 is what, if we needed to break it down to different names.
Recruit.
But yeah.
Nope, just the Recruit.
This
is just the Recruit. Like I said, this is just the Recruit. There's one opening credit, one end credit.
Yep.
It's the Recruit.
Yep. I agree.
So, all right. So let's, again, final spoiler warning. I'm about to recap the whole episode. Hopefully I can do this fairly quickly. Let's do like a 5-minute if I can. Again, this is a 44-minute episode, so it is quite longer than our usual Clone Wars discussions.
Yeah, my wife asked if, because this is twice as long, if we were going to have like a 4-hour episode.
Oh, God.
And
no.
I said, I hope not. Like,
nope.
That's...
No. I'm making the call. We're going through this quick.
Yeah,
so,
I know.
The episode starts with a space shot towards a planet. A figure enters the frame. There's ominous music, but it turns out to be a droid. Like we find out it's C4, but it has like the dome, like an R2 unit, all that good business.
This is kind of an homage to what was proposed as, or potentially going to be, the opening of The Last Jedi, where
very nice.
It was, you've heard about this, right?
I have not. No.
So it was going to be a kind of an establishing shot like that, where you see this large domed thing rise into view, and then I think it pans back or something, and it's actually it's Finn in his bubble suit.
Yeah, very nice.
In
so like reverse Star Child
coma or whatever.
I
mean, it's basically the same thing as this, but instead of being a droid, it would have been Finn. So
yeah,
that shot was used later, but it's not set up as like
establishing
the dramatic build
the
at the beginning, and then you're like pan out. Oh, ha! It's Finn. It's not a new starbase or something.
All right, let's get through the episode first before we keep stopping.
We're going. Sorry.
Let's get through. So, see, we're doing it already. There are 3 X-Wings. They're in a dogfight. One of the pilots mentions a secret mission. They have some intel. And the other relevant piece of information that's kind of spit out here is that the order was placed by Republic Command. They're in a dogfight against just one TIE fighter, a red TIE fighter with curved wings. They aren't the flat ones, which I found interesting. During the dogfight, one of the characters stays behind, lets 2 of them escape to hyperspace. They get out of there. There's the one remaining fighter with the TIE fighter, and the X-Wing gets shot. It's just a dead engine that doesn't blow up or anything like that, so the X-Wing is kind of just stranded there. When things are looking real bad, Poe Dameron himself comes to save the day. This pilot mentions Poe by name, so we know it's him. This is my side note. It is indeed Oscar Isaac returning to reprise his role as Poe Dameron, which is great. So they do a couple cool things. They knock the red TIE fighter off, basically. Like, they don't blow it up, but they kind of stun it.
They get a couple shots in on it.
Yeah. Doesn't really seem to damage it. It just shocks it a little bit. Red TIE Fighter gets out of there, hyperspaces away out of there. So then Poe asks who the pilot is. His name is Kaz. He introduces himself as Kaz, so that's the name we get for now. They board what appears to be the Tantave 4. Poe does mention that it's an old ship that's seen some action from Scarif to Jakku. So, yeah, Tantave 4 seems very likely.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yes. So they have a little conversation. Kaz mentions here, we get a little bit more backstory on who Kaz is. He mentions his father is a senator. We don't get who, really. But then Poe goes off, comes back, says that Kaz intel confirms that the First Order is indeed planning some full-scale attack in the Republic, and Poe needs to find out where and when this attack will take place. There's a few scenes here where Kaz is kind of bumbling around the Tantave and is trying to meet General Leia Organa, who he finds out is on board. But then when he pops into a room, it turns out Poe is just talking to a hologram of Leia. She's not actually on board the ship.
She's Skyping in.
Yeah, she's Skyping in. We don't hear from her. We just get a look from her. So then, after Poe kind of reveals that what his mission is, Kaz is really eager to help out the Resistance. Asks Poe for help for a chance to help the Republic. And Poe is hesitant at first, but then says, "Hey, I do see something in you, so let's figure something out, and I got a mission for you, kid." Basically, right?
This is definitely something I want to come back to later. So,
yes. So Kaz does have one request, and that is to call his father before he goes on this mission. Poe sets up the call. There's a hologram call that's set up. The call is scrambled so that nobody can figure out where the Tantave 4 is. And from Kaz's side, the hologram is scrambled, so we don't get a good look of who his father is, even though we do get to see the full hologram that Kaz is looking at. We hear his voice coming through clear. A few more interesting bits of information for Kaz is leaked here. His father says that he put him through the academy and the Navy. So Kaz does have some strong credentials here as to why he's piloting an X-Wing for the Republic. And then at the same time, Kaz's father does call the Resistance extremists. So there is some political views that get put out here. Moving on, in the next scene, Poe and Kaz are on a ship to Castellon, Castellon. There we go. Thank you. Just trying to read my own handwriting as I scribbled out everything happening here.
That's what I'm here for, Lorenzo.
Castellon. Yes. So Poe then reveals to Kaz that he wants Kaz to spy for the Resistance. A few more lines of exposition are spewed out here. They're on a planet that seems just mostly ocean. But it's calm. It's not stormy or anything like that. It's nice and sunny. They're flying towards some sort of giant
landing platform city type deal.
Yeah, it's big. It's very big. It's called the Colossus. Poe explains that it's a super tanker fuel depot and a pilot hangout. So like gamblers and all that sort of thing, people, species, whatever, hang out there.
Right.
Types. And Poe thinks that somebody from the First Order is surely hanging out here, and that is why they're headed here.
Yep.
So we land. First thing, Kaz sees who we do get his full name. Kazuda Ziono. He does say at some point on the Tantave. That name gets spewed out. First thing he sees is a guy getting thrown off the side of the platform straight into the water. So Kaz is all freaked out by whatever these events are, these ruffians, I guess.
Yeah, he's kind of overwhelmed with what's going on, which definitely continues over the next section of the show by way of Poe introducing him to his connection there, and then Kaz, through a series of bumbles, kind of gets himself caught up in the challenge of a race that happens on this planet, and there's another character that we're introduced to that kind of gets him in that. So the rest of the episode is like him prepping the ship and kind of meeting all the key characters,
yes.
And then he's got to go through a bit of stuff to get to the actual race, and
yeah, should we start naming some of these characters? The first character he meets,
sure,
is Niku, this green fella. I haven't mentioned voice actors yet, but Josh Brenner. I only bring him up because I also watch DuckTales, and Josh Brenner is also in DuckTales, and his voice is super noticeable.
Okay.
So, as soon as he showed up, he's doing the exact same voice for the character he does on DuckTales too, and he's on Silicon Valley. So he just has a very recognizable voice. There's Niku, who is Poe's contact. He's a odd fella. Niku brings them to Aunt Z's bar tavern thing.
Yeah, she's like a female uncar plut looking fat lady,
basically,
the way that I described her.
Yeah. And then Poe is actually there to try and find his old buddy Jarek Yeager, who Poe does name, who it does happen to be at the bar at that time.
Of course.
So then basically it's at this bar where Kaz gets himself to a lot of trouble, but a lot of it is Niku's fault. Mm-hmm. Niku as a character does this thing where he takes everything literally.
Yeah.
So through misunderstandings and just bad choices, like a bar brawl breaks out, and the whole city, I guess, or platform, the Colossus, we get like a montage of everybody hearing that Kaz is like the best pilot in the known galaxy.
Yeah, because he's bragging to Poe, and Niku hears him, and then word of mouth just fucking
takes over from there.
Runs rampant all the way.
And what's weird is just the small side is he's not really bragging. He's just going Kaz, one day I'm gonna be the best pilot in the galaxy. And Niku goes, look, it's Kaz, the best pilot in the galaxy. And it's no, that's not what was said at all. What is happening? So then that's where this race comes in. There's weird misunderstandings. Poe convinces sort of his buddy Jarek to let Kaz stay behind. Mm-hmm. And Jarek and Poe do have a conversation where Jarek does not want anything to do with the Resistance. He's aware of the Resistance. He just wants to go live his life as a mechanic. But as a favor to Poe, he will keep an eye on this kid. So then at this point, Poe does the episode. He's out of here. He's like, look, there's something to you, and just do your thing. Don't get in trouble. Don't die. But just try and figure out what's going on here and what's going on with the First Order. Oh, and BB-8 tries to follow him out, and then Poe's like, you know what, BB-8, you might want to stay and look after this kid just in case. So that happens, and then Jarek takes Kaz back to his shop, where we get introduced to his ship. Actually, there's a little scene here where we get to see some racing. So visually, we get some how racing works, and it's pretty straightforward. It's just fly ship through rings. First ship to go through the final ring wins. It's a straight race.
It's video game racing.
Yeah, essentially. So there's a few other interesting little tidbits that get thrown out here where Hype Phazon is the fastest racer on the Colossus. He's brought up a few times. I'm not sure if that's going to play out anytime in the future. It does not in this episode.
Yeah, Kaz has a choice of these 5 racers. It's Hype Phazon, Griff Halloran, Freya Fenris, Bo Keevil, and Tora Doza. He ends up picking Tora because she's like the newest and looks like a nice young lady, and presumably he was probably thinking she was inexperienced or whatever, so he picks her.
What's weird is that this comes after Niku also gives out some information in that the reason Niku kind of gives his reasoning as to why he's pushing Kaz to race, and that's because if you're on a team of winners, you get to live in Doza Tower, where Captain Doza lives, where it's nicer, it's cleaner, and the food is better. So then, in hearing the name Tora Doza, you would assume that she has lived her life practicing racing. So as to why he would choose, I don't know, but he does.
Or she's like a goody two-shoes and,
just following daddy's business.
Or, part of the family hierarchy, never had to work for anything, gets to do whatever she wants. I don't really know. Yeah. We can talk. Let's talk about that.
We'll get to that. Yeah. So what happens really quickly in the rest of the episode is Yeager lets Kaz borrow his ship called the Fireball, which is called the Fireball because it basically blows up every time somebody tries to fly it. It's not even operational. So they go back to the shop to look at it. Another character called Tam Ravora is the mechanic at Yeager's shop.
Mm-hmm.
Pops her head out of the Fireball, gets all pissy that Kaz gets to fly the ship because she was promised the ship if she got it running, which it is not.
Yeah, this is a moment from the trailer.
Yes. Another character that gets introduced is the shop droid called Bucket. He's essentially a R2 unit, but just the shell of. There's no casing on him basically, and he wears a helmet seemingly permanently, but it's a removable helmet. It's just kind of flopping around. Tora Doza does come to the shop to just greet the challenger and introduce herself. And by all accounts, she seems very pleasant. She's not there to really knock him down or anything. I mean, there's some friendly competitor banter, but it's nothing like, you better watch yourself, kid. No, it's more like, oh, I just want to see how you're doing. Right. It'll be a good race tomorrow.
She seems polite.
Yeah, polite. She seems polite. So then to fix the Fireball, they have to go pick up some parts. So Niku, Kaz, and BB-8 head to Flix and Orca's shop. And again, I need to bring up the voice actors because here they're super recognizable. Flix is Jim Rash from Community and also DuckTales. And Orca is Bobby Moynihan, also from DuckTales.
So what stood out to me with these two characters is we had a bird and a pig, and I was like, oh, look at that. It's Angry Birds. How about that? They're working together.
I saw that too. We'll comment a little bit more on character design, but the pig Orca character definitely looked like a character design straight out of Legend of Zelda as well, is what I saw. So I found that interesting. But yeah, they're definitely a pig and an owl character. The pig has Vulcan ears, pointy ears, which is interesting, and he's more reddish than anything. They start getting him parts for the Fireball. They know all about the Fireball. They know all about Yeager. And as soon as Kaz is like, wait, so Yeager's paying for this, right? And Niku is like, what are you talking about? You're the pilot. You pay.
Yeah, it's your ship, dipshit.
Yeah. And he's like, I don't have any credits. And then so Flix and Orca stop what they're doing. And they're like, wait, you can't pay? We can't give you anything, clearly. So then they strike a deal where if Kaz can go get them some, a Gorg for a Gorg sandwich.
Yep.
Then they'll scrounge up some secondhand parts to give to them as sort of a favor, So then there's this other side mission on a side mission that basically happens where they head out to the market. They find the Gorg shop, I guess, in the market, and the salesman proprietor of this Gorg shop happens to be Gruel, who was the bar patron that Kaz got in a fight with earlier. And Gruel gets all upset, but then Kaz offers a sponsorship deal with Gruel for a Gorg at the moment, and Gruel agrees. And on his way, Kaz brings back a Gorg for Flix and Orca, and
a Gorg is like a some type of fish thing.
Yeah, it's like amphibious. Like it can
big
walk
eyes
on
and
land,
maybe feet. Kind of hops around.
Yeah, like it can live outside of water. It seems it bites Kaz on the finger at some point. So then they bring back the parts. Kaz and BB-8 kind of had this moment on the outside of the shop at nighttime, where Kaz is just kind of concerned that his father gave him everything, so he's never had to really quite do anything on his own. Yeager kind of overhears this a little bit, but BB-8, has some sympathetic warble noises. Yeah, yeah. So then next day arrives, big race day. Ship is functional to some degree, and Yeager reminds Kaz that his main mission is to spy for Poe. It's not to win a race.
Right.
The mission is to survive the race, not win it.
Don't get dead.
Yes, exactly. So the race happens. It's a pretty thrilling, put together race. There is an announcer that is also, again, just mentioning. We'll do a full run of voice actors later on, but the voice actor here is very obviously Greg Proops from episode 1, the announcer for the pod race in The Phantom Menace.
I thought so.
Yep, definitely him. So there's a good race that happens. Tora, of course, is flying really well. Her ship's nice and tidy and neat. But Kaz does hold his own. He does overtake her at parts, to even the surprise of Tam, who is hoping to get the ship after she fixes it and all that jazz. But the ship does hit a limit, and Yeager tells Kaz to pull back, but Kaz is like, no, I got this. And then the engine kind of blows, and then, I don't got this. I should have listened to you. And then
dramatic irony.
Yes, exactly. And the ship goes down to the water. Kaz blacks out, wakes up.
And Kaz dies, and that is the end of the series.
That's the end of this fucking show, yes.
It's fucking quick.
No, what really happens is he wakes up in the shop without a scratch on him. Niku brings us up. The ship is there. They fished him out, I guess. Toro's even there to check on him, and is
because she's a nice, polite lady.
Yeah, she seems very polite to check on her competitor and make sure he's okay.
She's actually excited that he didn't die, because apparently this is the first competitor to race against her that didn't die.
Didn't just go down in complete flames. Yeah. So Kaz learns his lesson that he has to keep focus on the bigger picture rather than these little races of the day and all this stuff. And he has another scene with Yeager, and Yeager at this point does fully agree to let Kaz stay as a favor to Poe. He was kind of on the fence before, but he was kind of going along with it. But this is the point where Yeager does say, yes, I will let you stay. I will not get involved in the actual spy stuff you're doing. I know that's what you're here for. You can do that. I will not be involved, but you will have to work as a mechanic, earn your keep like everybody else, which I think is fair.
For sure.
So we end the scene on Kaz looking up to the stars. We get one cut back to that red TIE fighter going through hyperspace still. He arrives to a bunch of what we see Star Destroyers. So, first order Star Destroyers. He does a little check-in, codes are cleared, all that stuff. He gets clearance, and it pans up, and we see the Starkiller base from The Force Awakens. So, and then it's not our usual Q loud music. There's credits that roll and fanfare.
Yeah.
Q fanfare. So that's how long did that take? Maybe 15 minutes there. So
Yeah, maybe a little longer.
something
That's
like
right.
that. Hey, it was a longer episode. So, and also as the pilot, it's kind of important to set some of this stuff up.
Yep.
You know?
No, I
But we
totally
did it.
agree.
There go my notes. We did it.
All right, so there's a couple things I want to talk about here.
Go ahead. I did my talking.
I thought it was a weird situation that Kaz is on like an official mission from the New Republic to work with the Resistance.
Here's my confusion in this setup, and I think I brought this up as a concern in the last the extended sneak peek discussion that we had a couple episodes back.
Sure.
So the New Republic is the New Republic. They're the governing body.
Mm-hmm.
The Resistance is like this fringe thing that's just kind of doing its own thing, but it's not really sanctioned by New Republic, right?
Right.
So I agree with you. What is this kid doing for the Republic that then Poe can pull him into Resistance work that the Republic doesn't go, hey, where'd our pilot go? Why?
Right.
What's he doing?
Either he's dead and we should investigate that, which they know he's not dead because he talked to his dad, who is a senator.
Yes.
Or like now he's gone AWOL, defector. Like this is probably a punishable crime.
Yes, defector, gone rogue, however you want to call that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So
the setup
AWOL.
is a little weird, and I think that it's done so that we don't have like a repeat of starry-eyed boy from some planet looking up to the sky and saying, man, I wish I could be a part of this thing, but this government that's going right now just doesn't suit me.
yes.
So we kind of have a blending of Luke Skywalker and Han Solo and somebody else.
Like partially Rey to some degree.
Or...
But like Rey later life, you know?
Yeah, I was thinking more maybe like Padme, because like Padme like grew up
That's, yes.
in the system, in the
Yes.
political system.
Yeah. and
Luke's got
also
this wide vision of doing something else,
Mhm.
right? And Han, joined the Imperial Academy and then the Imperial Navy, and so we have that mirror. So it's kind of, I won't say it is mirroring these three characters because Kaz is definitely his own person, but
Yes.
I think the setup is to try to get us to where we're at. I don't know that it's going to be a big component continuing to pull back consistently to like, hey, well, you used to be part of the Republic, now you're part of the Resistance, like, where do your allies lie, blah, 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 blah,
Yes.
Okay. We had this... We're on character overload, in my opinion, this week. We meet so many people,
I agree.
and having only seen this episode and this episode only, I don't know if any of these people or how many of these people are going to come back. Taking a look at the credits, there's like the main 5 up at the top, I'm imagining, are probably going to be our main characters. Beyond that, I'm not really sure. So I had fun in the middle of this where Kaz had to go on his little... I don't want to call it a wild goose chase, but his scavenger hunt, if you will, where it's like, okay, we need this, and to get this, I need this, and to get this, I need that, and I'm ending up with a fucking fish, making a deal with a guy for merchandising rights on the side of my ship that isn't even mine, right?
Yes.
And then crawl back up the ladder. It was interesting that the first time anybody explains how this race works, he is in the ship,
right.
and like ready to launch, and
Yeah, the way they place exposition in this episode is really interesting. So that's why, like, I made the note that we get the visual rules. You know, we see them running through the rings. Why Yeager just didn't say what he says later there, I don't understand, you know?
Yeah, because Yeager is like, all right, kid, here's what's going to happen. You're going to see a bunch of rings. You got to fly through them. The person to get through the last ring first is the winner.
Yeah.
Here's honestly what I expected to happen. One of two things. Firstly, I did not think we were actually going to see the race in this episode. I thought that was going to be reserved for, like, the beginning of next episode. Like, we got this full setup and come back next week to find out what happened. Secondly, when I realized that, yep, we're definitely going to see this race, I thought that he was going to bend the rules to win. I thought he was going to be like, okay, well, why do I need to go through all the other rings? Because it seems like the last one is just the most important one. They definitely go in some sort of order, but there's no... You're flying through the sky, so there's no set lanes or anything like that.
No.
So could it be you have to go through all 4 or 5 or however many there are, and whoever does that, the fastest wins, and then the more experienced person knows the quickest route to go? I don't know.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it's like you go through one, and then, as I've done on many, many video games, I'm like, okay, flying around, like, all right, well, where's the next one? Like, where's the balloon I gotta shoot, or where's the ring I gotta fly through? I don't even know where my target is. So kudos to him, I guess, for figuring that out. I think we did a pretty good job of introducing everybody. I think, maybe. So,
but yeah, like you said, there's a shit ton of characters that get.
That's most of my notes, and it's like, it's like this person is human, blah blah, whatever. But it's like Kaz, Poe, Scarif and Jakku were mentioned, Organa, 3PO, C4, which I don't even know who C4 is. Just some.
It's his blue robot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, his blue droid that never comes back again. We don't see him again for the rest of this episode.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's just like name.
Yeah. Especially in the bar fight. There's a lot happening in the bar fight. And there's the small little character whose species we have seen before, but I don't know off the top of my head.
He's a pod racer on...
Yes.
On Tatooine.
The one with the family, right?
Oh, yeah, that's totally who it is. And
He's the one that dies, and they cut to the family, and I'm just like, that's fucked up.
Yeah, that was in the DVD release, right? In the
I have no idea. I don't. Yeah.
Oh shit.
But yeah, I think that character is the only one I couldn't figure out a name for. But yeah, it's look, as a pilot, pilots have the weird thing of like setting up a world or a premise and then trying to leave it open enough. You know, I'm glad, as you brought up, I always thought, I didn't think they were going to do race second episode. You know, I like that they did race in this episode so that they could close it off. I am going to complain, though, that watching this pilot, I was just trying to figure out what the fuck this had to do with anything, right? Like, it was... They keep setting up that he's there to spy, he's there to spy, he's there to spy. And then this dude, like, Mr. Magoo's his way through the Colossus and, like, starts a bar brawl and then gets pulled into this race. And even Yeager has to keep reminding him, it's like, hey, you're here to spy for Poe. Why are you so, like...
That's another thing that I was going to bring up, because he's like, he tells Poe, like, I don't want anything to do with this spy shit. And he tells Kaz, I don't want anything to do with this spy shit. And then, like, consistently, he's like, yo, spy. Like
remember, you're here to spy.
You're a spy. Like, to be a good spy, you have to be alive, so don't get dead. And, like, spy, but I don't want anything to do with it, spy.
So I get that Yeager's like looking out for him, which brings me to my second complaint: is that what does Poe see in this kid? Also, this the reason I wanted to
He's
stop
known him
and
for
bring
like
up
20 minutes.
Yeah, and the reason I wanted to bring up his credentials is because otherwise the character as drawn, it's a CG show, but as drawn looks really young. Like I would put him in that like Luke Skywalker age range, right?
Mm-hmm. But
when we first meet,
he does have a scar on the left side of his head above his ear.
And we get, so like I said, he gets the information. We get the information that he has gone through the academy and through the Navy, So he has some credentials, but like the first time we see him out of the ship, he's like this weird kid that's like bumbling around the ship, and he's like trying to find Leia, and then he like falls in, and then the rest of the episode he's playing that part.
Mm-hmm.
So I get that the show is geared towards children, and again, this is a pilot, so it's early going, and as a pilot, it's good to have a character start at a certain point to leave room for growth.
Mm-hmm.
But
he's like one step ahead of Ezra.
Yeah, that's what, like, Ezra was young enough that I understood what was happening there. I'm gonna say, like, the first couple episodes of Rebels, I remember feeling this exact same way, where I was just really frustrated with Ezra as a character. I was like, I'm not gonna care about this character. There's no way they're gonna make me like this character because he's just annoying the shit out of me. And, over the course of 4 seasons, Filoni proved me wrong, and I really did enjoy Ezra, and I liked his arc. And with that in mind, that's what bothers me about this pilot, is that we get a character that's not as seemingly young as Ezra. He's gone through schooling. He's not an orphan. He has a father that cares for him.
Mm-hmm.
But he's still this weird bumbling kid after we see his skills as a pilot, which aren't bad.
Yeah, he seems pretty
competent.
Solid.
Yeah. So
he's like a
found all
junior
this
in high
odd.
school. He's still starstruck when he's hearing certain people's names, even though his father's a senator. So you would think that I don't know,
he would have been exposed to some of this from on Coruscant or whatever, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not Coruscant anymore. It's that random planet that you see one time. Rep 4's blown up.
Oh, that's right.
But
right.
It's what? No, it's a traveling Senate.
Yeah, I don't remember the rules on that. Hopefully, this show will. Like I said, okay, jumping forward a little bit. My hope for this show is to set up a lot more of these rules, or just this whatever ideology each of these, like the Resistance and the First Order has, right? So that we get more than a glimpse of whatever got blowed up in The Force Awakens, right?
Yeah. Do you want to talk voiceover crew, and then we'll do a thumbs up, thumbs down, and maybe like a projection of the future?
Sure. Yeah.
Cool.
So just giving a full rundown of all the characters. Kazuda Xiono is voiced by a man named Christopher Sean. I'm going to do a sidestep here and say, on a personal level, as annoyed as I was with this character, I am really happy as an Asian American myself that Christopher Sean is an Asian American. Kazuda is definitely Asian ethnically in appearance as you can get in a Star Wars universe, right?
Okay.
I am very happy about this.
Cool.
Just a note, as a person who has grown up watching endless white characters be the lead, it's really cool to see somebody who looks somewhat like me
yeah, for sure,
take the lead, as annoying as the character is. So Kazuda is Christopher Sean. The aforementioned Oscar Isaac comes back to voice Poe. Who else? I mentioned Josh Brenner plays Niku. Jim Rash plays Flix. Bobby Moynihan plays Orca. We have Susie McGrath playing Tam Rivora, who works at the shop. I'm just hopping around, basically. Mirna Velasco plays Tora Doza. Who else we got here? Oh, Scott Lawrence plays Jarek Yeager. We get a couple lines from that red stormtrooper, who I don't know if I mentioned, but we do get a name from him, and it's Von Reg.
I missed that one.
Yeah, it's right at the end. It's like, hey, welcome back, Von Reg, or something like that. That character is voiced by a man named Lex Lang. Am I missing anybody?
So the 4 that I have written down are included in this episode. Everybody's favorite clones, plural, D. Bradley Baker. I didn't write down who he was voicing, but hey, we get to hear him in one way or another. Anthony Daniels does have that cameo playing C-3PO's voice. You don't see him, you only hear him. Mm-hmm. Sam Witwer, Darth Maul himself in a couple different iterations, or the voice of Darth Maul, I should say, voiced a character. Whoever it was, I didn't catch their name in the episode, so I couldn't point them out. And then I thought it was interesting that at the end of the episode, R1J5, aka Bucket, is credited as voicing himself.
I did not catch that.
So that's what I have as far as voice acting work goes.
All right, very nice.
So we got a bunch of new people. We got some people that we've heard before, and I think we can move on from there to thumbs up, thumbs down. Do you want to go first? You want me to go first?
I'll start.
Who talks first? You talk first. Do I talk first?
Look, I'm middle of the road on this one, but I'm always gonna be kinder to pilots just based on the fact that they are pilots, right? Mm-hmm. Pilots are tough. It takes a special kind of pilot for me to just absolutely not like, Clone Wars theatrical, maybe the one I remember the most. I'm gonna give this a thumbs up. I have a lot of reservations, but as a standalone episode, I think it progressed well enough. It told the story it needed to tell. It had a close. The race was exciting, and it set up the characters. It set up the Colossus. It set up the world that we are gonna be in. As we move forward, we'll see. But as a pilot goes, this I thought this was fine. Okay. On that note, before we get out of here, I do want to say Niku is probably my second least favorable character in the Star Wars universe.
So it's Jar Jar and then Niku?
Basically. Niku, I like the pilot overall, and I see what they're doing with Niku. Niku, however, is so fucking annoying to me in every scene he shows up in.
You know what I find really hilarious is that I can imagine my wife watching this show and going, hey, that green face guy is kind of like you, as in me. So I'll have to have her watch this and then bring a report back to you on that one. So
yeah, it's just Niku as a character is clearly there to just make plot things happen. So that's going to be my major complaint over everything is Niku. So just
I got to disagree with you on that. I also give this one a thumbs up.
Yes.
I thought Niku was well done. We've got this new dynamic within Star Wars. It's something we've seen before in Drax. Drax the Destroyer, who doesn't understand sarcasm. Nothing goes over his head because he is too fast. He would catch it. And this is definitely the extreme. It worked well for me. It was a bit of an awkward start. And then in the middle, we started cruising. Things, this happened, and then that caused this to happen, and that caused this to happen. And we run through until the end. And then we have an awkward ending where it's like, okay, we gotta show Starkiller Base, not a design that I've ever really been pleased with. carving out part of a planet. Like, I can't
There
really,
it is. Yeah.
it is
I
what
agree.
it is, but
It's weird.
not my favorite. But overall, yeah, I thought this episode was great. I enjoyed it more than the trailers. So each thing that I've seen of this show, I have enjoyed more, and it's made me want to see what is going to happen more.
Yes.
Do you have any predictions for the future?
I'm gonna try and be careful there because I have seen the next 2 episodes. But as for the season overall, there's still a lot of things from the trailer we haven't seen. So we did see a scene of Leia actually talking, and we see Phasma, right? So, again, just my personal hope, as I've mentioned, is just trying to understand what the Resistance is and what the First Order is and why the First Order is, right?
Yeah, that would be a nice thing to kind of build up also. Questions or predictions that I had: are we going to see Kylo Ren? Are we going to see Snoke?
Yes. Yeah.
Right? General Hux, does he play a part in all of this? It's going to be
Right.
It's going to
If
be
we're
hard
dealing
to
with
have
First
these
Order,
these 3 people not involved in the First Order. I'm interested to find, how far into this season are we going to be? Kaz is going to find this First Order spy, I guess you could call him, sympathizer. I don't really know, and but I don't know how far into the season it's going to be. Is that going to be like the turning point where it's like, okay, we're 16 episodes in, we got 6 more to go or whatever, and like we know who the sympathizer is, and then we need to flesh them out and continue, and there's going to be something that happens there till the end of the season. I'm not really sure, because right now this was a good episode, but it's really hard for me to see what is coming, and kind of, to put it in the plainest terms possible, what's the point of it all?
Yeah, like I said, the pilot definitely closes its own loop, and that's why I say middle of the road, because rather than fully setting up this overarching issue for Kaz, which it does, but it throws this weird side mission in there that it's so distracting from the main thing. I would have preferred to actually have made some progress with Kaz as a spy in this pilot, rather than...
I think the progress that it was made is that it becomes official that he is going to be a spy.
I guess.
It basically is, this is some guy, hey, there's Poe. Oh shit, I really like Poe. Poe's awesome. The Resistance wants me to do something. Yeah, you're going to be a spy. I don't want to be a spy. No, you're going to be a spy. Okay, I'll be a spy. Hey, yeah, okay, you are a spy.
I guess. Again, the race is just such a sidestep, though, to all of that. Like,
I agree.
The race is its own thing.
If all of like the flying stuff that we saw in the trailer was included in the race itself, I would say that it was like a trailer builder. I don't really know, because it seems like racing is going to be at least a part of this thing. So I don't really, I can't really say anything more than that.
Now that he's known as like the best pilot in the galaxy, like it's gonna be his front as a spy. That I can see, right? So he has to like maintain this front. So like there's gonna be more racing while he's doing whatever else he's doing for Poe and the Resistance. Right. So that's kind of how I see the setup. But again, it's just a weird characterization to throw at him to be a spy. Like, oh, like while you're on this planet, we're gonna have you be the racer. Like, and then that's because Poe brings it up too. Is like, well, I guess that's one quick way to try and get to know everybody on this base or whatever they call it. You know,
Right.
so that much I can see. But again, as pilots go, it was fine. It was thrilling. What was given was well done. The animation, I have to comment again. I commented on the episodes where we talked about the 2 trailers that were released.
Mm-hmm.
I love this animation style.
Yeah, it was great, man.
Yeah. It's so bright and crisp compared to Clone Wars and Rebels, right?
Mm-hmm.
That tried to just go more traditional 3D shapes and textures and stuff like that. This one is cell shaded, as I mentioned in the other episodes, but I'll repeat here. This is done by Polygon Pictures, I believe, who have also worked on a few other series like Tron, Uprising for Disney themselves, which I thought also looked great. And they do a couple shows on Netflix, and they also did the animated Godzilla trilogy that's almost fully released on Netflix now. So, but yeah, Knights of Sidonia is the big one I've seen on Netflix. So it's an anime. It's all about mech suits and stuff like that. So the look is very similar.
Yeah, I think you sent me a link to that, maybe.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So it's nice. You know, it's a little odd because it looks 2D, but the some of the movement's still a little stilted. That happens. But you know, as CG goes, I think it's for television CG. I think it's pretty darn good. I think the voice acting from Oscar Isaac is top notch. He does not sound like he's phoning it in. He sounds like he's having a lot of fun. He brings the same charm and energy.
He almost has like more dynamic energy than
the live action stuff.
Yeah, the live action stuff. Because there was a couple moments where I was like, "Ooh, that's a little over the top for Poe," but I'll go with it.
I wouldn't disagree with you there. Yeah, I agree that he seems to be having fun with it. Right. I don't know if he's done other animation work off the top of my head, but yeah, he's definitely having some fun with it. So,
last question: do we have a capital B bad guy?
No,
Didn't think so.
One. No, not at all. Like, yeah, this one is just, again, it's all set up. It's because even anybody in the bar brawl, I wouldn't. No, it's a series of events that's happening in this one. It's a slice of life.
Slice of life
for our pal Kazuda. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Actual last question.
Yes, go ahead.
Describe this episode in one word. I will say energizing.
Whimsical. Yeah, this episode's filled with whimsy. I will say, as much as I dislike Niku, there is a lot of other humor that I thought worked in this episode. I just want to bring that up because during Clone Wars, I think I complain a lot about the humor. But in this one, you know, confusion about why certain story plots are happening. Mm-hmm. The humor that does get infused in the middle of this, I did really like. Classic gag where Yeager and Poe are talking, and they're like, "Oh, the kid won't get into any trouble," and then that one character slams across the glass during the bar brawl. You know.
Yes, and by the way, that was Rats Tyrell, and he is an Alena, Aleena.
Rats in Phantom, not in Resistance. Right?
Correct. Rats Tyrell is the
name of the character in
the name
Phantom
of the
Menace.
character in the Phantom Menace. That is a pod racer that we are presuming is the same alien species as this little thing.
Yes, which again, I don't know the name of, because even looking through the credits, I couldn't figure out which one, because there are so many fucking characters. I was like, I don't know which one to put on this one. So we'll hopefully figure that out by next week's episode, or
we'll probably figure that out in the future.
Yeah, but yeah, overall, I'm hopeful for the show. It's, again, Filoni's in charge, So, yeah. And I think I was talking to another friend, or I don't. Pilot, like I said, pilots are difficult, but for whatever reason, Filoni seems to have more difficulty with pilots than anything.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess we'll see how the Mandalorians go.
Right, yeah. But that one's not, he's not in charge of that one. He's directing it.
Right.
But he's not the showrunner on that one.
He is not the showrunner.
So, we'll see. But, it's just, I don't know. When it comes to, like, great pilots, some shows can't really get into it, and they know what they are, and they don't have to take, like, 3 to 6 episodes to find their groove, you know? Mm-hmm. And I'm not against that. Sometimes you need 2 to 3 episodes to really get the full arc built, right? Like the beginning of the arc built out.
Right.
But I don't. There are still better ways to do it than to have like a side arc for a show that has no bearing on what might be coming later, right? Again, this is early start. You haven't seen what's coming up next. I have, but I'm still
cheater.
Gonna be careful about what I say. But it's I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't give me any information that I didn't know yet, so.
Nope. Keeping that real tight to the chest.
Good on you.
All right.
I do have some information that not everybody knows.
Yes. What is that?
That is that These Aren't the Nerds You're Looking For is now on YouTube.
Yes.
So
yes.
Lorenzo put in some work last week getting some stuff together, and all 39 of our previous episodes have hit our YouTube channel. These Aren't the Nerds You're Looking For. So you can head there. And
I want to be clear, they are still, as of right now, all audio-only episodes. They are just being duplicated on YouTube as another way to listen to them.
Correct.
The video that plays is just a still frame thumbnail that I have created for each episode.
Correct.
But it's the same show, same discussion. So if, moving forward, listening through a web browser or whatever is easier for you,
mm-hmm.
that is another way that moving forward we will release alongside however else you're listening to this, Stitcher, iTunes, TuneIn, Google Play.
Mm-hmm.
It's just another place for it to show up. That said, Kevin and I have discussed about doing a few video specials here and there.
Yes.
Depending on,
we're looking into the idea of
like
original
actual
video
YouTube
content.
Yeah, actual YouTube stuff. So, but as of right now, we're still gonna focus on Clone Wars audio only. But there'll be like specials maybe that we'll think about.
We're getting more and more balls in the air in this juggling act that we're doing. So, yeah.
So that's another way to look out. So as usual, wherever you're listening to this, like, subscribe, please. Comment, let us know.
Mm-hmm.
Which is interesting. We did get a few comments on YouTube already, which has been really nice. So. Thank you for the few comments that we're getting there, because we are still small and starting out, and we're trying to build this audience. So yeah, just any feedback would be nice, just to let us know how we're doing.
Tell me who you are, where you live, and what size shoes
Kevin
you
and I
wear.
are interested in that. Yeah. So, but anyways, if you do want to reach out to us by other means rather than commenting on YouTube or iTunes, Google Play. You can also email us at notthenerdspodcast@gmail.com. Kevin is in charge of our Twitter at nottthenerds. I handle the Facebook side of things at Not the Nerds Podcast, if you search for us there on Facebook. And then our usual shout-outs to Lindsay, who put together the music at the beginning and end. You can reach out to her if you'd like her to help you out with any musical things, strange fantasy music, at gmail.com, correct?
That is correct.
And then Kevin Warren, who did our graphic artwork, is they call me K-Dub on Twitter. So, yeah.
You got it, man.
yeah. But again, so just keep an eye out on YouTube. That took a lot of work. But I'm kind of glad it got together fairly quickly, like less than a week. I made thumbnails for each video, and I kind of like how that shows up. So
I was impressed. It looks good.
yeah,
I'm pleased.
Thank you.
So
I'm glad you brought that up, because I completely, even though I've spent a whole week on it, just in the context of this episode, completely forgot. But we'll be back for another normal episode with the Zilla Bee Strikes Back coming Wednesday. I'm going to try and release this episode as quickly as possible. So,
yeah, we're going to try to get in a groove of you being able to hear about Resistance on Mondays and then Clone Wars on Wednesdays. So
we'll see how, yeah.
We'll
we
see how that
kind of
goes.
shift things around, then we'll see. But, yeah. But anyways, I think this was a good start to at least discussing Resistance.
Yeah,
we didn't
for sure.
stay too long, about an hour. So I think, as regards to you and me, I think that's pretty darn good.
This is brief comparatively.
Yes. So we hope you enjoyed it. Thank you again. Please like and subscribe. And
We'll see you next week for the Triple Dark. Until then, these aren't the nerds you're looking for.